A faint whistle in the dead of night, drifting through the trees, carried on the wind. It sounds distant at first, barely noticeable, but then it draws closer. The tune is eerie, unsettling, yet strangely familiar. And then it stops. Silence follows, thick and suffocating. That's when you realize if you hear the whistler, you're already too late. The legend of the whistler is a chilling piece of fake lore that has gained traction in online horror communities, blending elements of supernatural terror and psychological dread. The entity is often described as an unseen stalker, something that watches from the shadows, never fully revealing itself until the final moment. The defining feature? Its unsettling, hypnotic whistle. No one agrees on what the whistler truly is. Some believe it is a wandering spirit cursed to roam the earth in search of lost souls. Others say it is a supernatural predator luring its victims with an innocent sounding tune before striking when they least expect it. Stories differ on whether it takes human form or remains an unseen force, but all versions share one terrifying detail. If you hear the whistling, it is already too late. Many variations of the legend suggest that the closer the whistling sounds, the safer you are. But if it seems far away, it's actually right behind you. This inversion of logic adds to the psychological horror, making it impossible to gauge whether escape is even possible. Some victims report feeling paralyzed by fear, unable to move as the sound grows louder. Others describe seeing a shadowy figure with hollow eyes, lingering just beyond the edges of their vision. The origins of the whistler are difficult to trace, but similar legends exist in multiple cultures. In Latin American folklore, there is El Silbón, the whistler, a cursed specter that haunts the night, carrying a sack of bones. In Appalachia, there are stories of ghostly whistlers who signal death or misfortune. Across the world, tales of whistling entities often serve as omens, warnings of impending doom. The internet has only amplified these myths, creating a modern digital age boogeyman that spreads through forums, YouTube horror channels, and creepypasta stories. Some say the whistler chooses its victims randomly. Others believe it is drawn to those who acknowledge it, speak of it, think about it, or, worst of all, try to imitate its tune. Whistling at night is said to invite the entity, an unspoken invitation for it to find you. Whether or not the legend is real, many people refuse to take the risk. Those who claim to have encountered the whistler describe a deep, bone-chilling fear, a primal terror that cannot be explained. Some report their lights flickering, their pets reacting to something unseen, or the sensation of being watched. But the most horrifying accounts come from those who have heard the whistling itself. It starts soft, just a distant melody in the dark, and then suddenly it's right behind them. The whistler is a perfect example of modern fake lore, a horror myth that thrives in the digital age. It taps into ancient fears of the unknown, the unseen, and the sound that should not be there. Whether it is just another internet legend or something far more sinister, one thing remains certain. If you hear it whistling at night, you're already too late.